All right, Mark Meredith on the streets of Washington. We thank you very much. Meanwhile, let's go down to South Florida. Dan Bongino is Fox News contributor, former New York City Police Department officer, and also a former Secret Service agent. Dan, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
I can't imagine being a Secret Service guy or gal over this past weekend. The news is apparently, I believe it was Friday night, there was such violence or the threat of violence outside the gates of the White House. They took the president to the bunker, which never happens, and 60 Secret Service officers injured. Molotov cocktails, bottles, rocks, all sorts of stuff. This is a tough time to be somebody who's in the law enforcement business.
Yeah, it is, Steve. This is really, it's not easy to be on the air this morning. It isn't, because you go back and forth between rage and fear and anxiety. My kids are scared. I have, an 8-year-old daughter last night who was saying, Daddy, they're not coming to Florida, are they? I mean, she knows I was a Secret Service agent. I watched St. John's, the church. You know how many times I stood post in that majestic church across the street from the White House as an agent?
Yep.
When President Obama, President Bush went over there, it was a Sunday morning ritual for many years. That beautiful church. You're burning the church? I woke up this morning, I feel like this is a bad movie, like a nightmare. None of us can wake up from it. And I think to myself, what are you doing? I spent years on President Obama's detail. And Steve, you could not have disagreed with the man more than I did. But I proudly went to work every day and defended the President of the United States. He was my president, although I disagreed with him. I never once thought, because I disagreed with him, that I was going to show up at the White House and start a riot. And can I add here, I've been in communication with friends of mine. The tactics being used at the White House are very sophisticated. They're lifting and shifting. They're moving around, trying to hit strategic points of the White House. And friends of mine have informed me that known Antifa leadership is there organizing this. This is not some run-of-the-mill criminality by people who have nothing to do on a Saturday night. Yes, there are some people there who are just there to cause trouble. This is a sophisticated insurrection type attack. This is not a joke. These are known, identified members of what now is a terror group trying to take down the seat of our government. Don't you understand what's going on right now? This is not about George Floyd anymore. Gosh, I wish it was. We had a sincere moment of national unity where everyone agreed, even our police officers, that this was abhorrent. And who's talking about that now? You know what the answer? Nobody. We're talking about an insurrection. This is not a joke. This has to stop now. They better get a damn lid on this stat, or this is not going to end well.
Dan, you talk about the church, St. John's. It's an Episcopal church, and I was reading this morning that thankfully the sanctuary was not damaged. They burned out the nursery that had just been renovated down in the basement. That's where children go to learn about Christ, and that's on fire because of these looters and these people that are out there protesting. How do we fix this problem, Dan?
The Bill Barr and the president need to legally decapitate Antifa today. We need a high-profile FBI arrest right now, whether it's, I think it's 18 U.S.C., I think it's 2101 for rioting today. We need this. We need full mobilization of our National Guards in every state. This isn't the time to say, well, we don't have riots here. I don't care if you're in Wyoming or downtown Miami. We have to shut this down now. Get a lid on this right now. We have to do other things as well. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for local mayors and municipalities to consider bringing some retired law enforcement, able and willing, to come back and help in a support role. Get those cops out there as a show of force tonight. We can't. I warned people. I warned on Tuesday. I said the minute you let this get out of control, it turns from crowd control to riot control. And those are two completely different forms of policing. We are in a triage situation now, and we should have never been here if they would have shut it down in Minnesota on night one.
True. These are tactics. They got a plan. There's too many states and too many cities, 41 states. This is a plan. It's diffuse, but they have actually a way to hurt this country beyond the pandemic. The pandemic put us on pause for 3 months. This is going to take years to rebuild these cities. Having said that, The president will regret the rest of his presidency, whether it's 4 more years or 5 more months, if he does not get together with his best tactical minds, his best legal minds, and his best speechwriters and give an address tonight. If there isn't a reason to ever address the country that has been so diversely affected by one thing, this is the reason. It's not 9/11 where Washington, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and New York were hit, but the country was affected. Every state's been affected. We can't quite figure out who the enemy is. We know we want to be together. We know they want to tear us apart. The president has to bring the country together, and in that speech can't be anything about a Democrat and nothing about a Republican. It's got to be about an American. How do you feel about that?
I think the president understands what's going on right now. I agree with you. I think if there was ever a time in the history of the U.S. presidency for an Oval Office address to bring the country together, it's unquestionably right now. I mean, you can't watch these videos, Brian. You can't, of a woman in Rochester being beaten senseless while her husband's screaming for mercy, trying to swing a golf club to protect her husband. These people having their teeth knocked out and being attacked. I mean, black and white business owners alike in liberal cities having entire livelihoods burned down. This has to stop tonight. We have to draw a line. There has to be a marginal line tonight. The Antifa and these criminals have declared war on civilians in the constitutional republic. This is not a joke. This is an insurrection. This is a coup. This is not a protest anymore. I wish it were, candidly. We had a moment. That moment's gone. Now is the time to get a lid on this. Right now.
Dan, it's clearly, the more I think about it, it is 3 groups. As people look and they see things devolve through the course of the day, there are really 3 different groups of people we're talking about. There are the protesters who are protesting police brutality. That's how it started in Minneapolis. But then you've got the second group of the organizers, Antifa, you said, and they're the ones who want to sow discord and break things and try to burn down police cars. And then you've got the third group, and these are the opportunists who are seeing the craziness and the chaos on the streets, and they're going in and they're looting and they're taking stuff out of Target, Chanel, whatever store they just broke a window at. Suddenly, everything's free.
Yes. Steve, your analysis there is important because this is how we put a lid on this and cap this tonight. You have 3 groups. You have legitimate protesters very upset about what happened, exercising constitutional rights. Those protesters have to start to turn on the other 2 groups. We've already seen it in D.C. with the video of peaceful protesters turning an Antifa hooligan over to the cops. Secondly, you have just straight criminals taking advantage of this situation. We have to use video today and start locking up as many of these looters as we can, start showing up at their houses. Is this you on the video? Once the word starts getting out that this isn't a free-for-all, it'll stop. Third, as I said, you have to legally decapitate Antifa today. High-profile arrests. You have to start perp-walking these people right now. Put them on camera. You want to be famous? We'll make you famous behind a jail cell. Believe me, the message will get out. Some of these kids are really video game players in their basement with s'mores who showed up to take advantage and joined the group because they had nothing to live for. Then when they watch their friends go into federal prison, all of a sudden this is going to change quick. That's how you take advantage of those 3 groups and stop this tonight. But those protesters have to not allow this. You're there for peaceful reasons to exercise your God-given rights. Don't allow these people to hijack your movement. It's disgraceful.
All right, Dan.
Twitter
Thank you
took
so
their
much.
site down.
Yeah. All right, law enforcement officers confronted